Hi everybody, how you doing? This is Tony. I have built another van. My first van was Cactus the van, and this is Cactus the van 2.0. So this one as well is up for sale, and I'm going to take you on a tour to show you what it's like. Okay, so everything here has been built of materials that I bought mainly from Home Depot or Lowe's. Generally speaking, it's either high-end material like the flooring, which is your vinyl kind of waterproof floor, or just using general laminate plywood or 2x2s. It's all pine mainly for weight. And so in case you're wondering about that, you have on the outside here to start, you have sort of a storage unit with just basic protection against stuff falling out or to play the guitar. My cat litter box here, which obviously you can take out, it's not locked in, so don't worry about that. Okay, so starting over on your right, this is a wall that I created to kind of keep the feel of a home, and this door is a sliding door. So for ease of access in and out, storage for plates over here. It is a bit set up for the specific plate organization that I did, but with a little improvisation, you can probably make it work better for you. Unfortunately, I did kind of cater it to that, but these plates and everything come with it, so we have some, things of hopefully your liking. This guy is just a metal hook on the wall. This spice rack is screwed in. I will be giving the spice rack with it. I feel it's pretty convenient to cook with. These are also locked down so they don't go anywhere. I keep my coffee and sugar in there in the morning because that is life. We have stove, oven combo. It is a camp chef, and it is a pretty decent oven. I wouldn't say that you can cook as well as a house oven. You can do a pizza, you can roast some vegetables. It does take a bit longer. It gets up to about 450 degrees, and it's kind of a slow warm-up process. Takes about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes to get to full 450. You have double burner propane stoves, and those under here run off of a 1 gallon propane tank. I was using 1 pounds in the back, so you can go back to that. I had 1 pounds, I had 4 of them. They stack in the back there, but I found that this was just a little more convenient to keep things not rotated constantly. I keep my pots and pans under there. More storage here. Obviously, do it however you like. Everything is on these style hinges, so they hold, they have a good sort of feel to them. They don't just janky fall apart. And water is under here. You have a 6 gallon and then a 3 gallon catch. So this is where you put your fresh and obviously your discard. I did it smaller because I like to use the majority of water that I have, but if you kind of don't pay attention, it will overflow, and then you kind of get some soup under there that you have to clean up. It is watertight, so if it does spill, it's not going to leak into the other departments. I have a drawer here. So this guy has compartments that go back pretty decently far. As you can see, like I have something like that fits in this area, as well as all this area and that area. So it is pretty decent for storage. And then under here, I keep cutting boards and platters, stuff like that. This countertop is an IKEA countertop. It's not real stone, so I didn't want to do any weight. It is composite material. It does not stain, so you don't have to worry about things getting stuck on it and staining it. You can mar it up, obviously, if you hit it, and then it's basically like a particle kind of composite wood underneath. The sink is stainless steel, so for the most part it won't rust. and as well as the faucet stainless steel. This is run off of a 12-volt pump, which is relatively smooth. It's actually pretty nice. I like to keep it running really low. It does make sort of a hiccup sound, but this keeps water under flow, and it's just because it's used to kind of pulling out more water, but I don't really like to use that much because I like to retain. I have a switch over here. If you can see it from that angle, this turns on and off the sink because when you run low, the pump will keep attempting to prime. So you can turn it off when you need to and turn it on just in case you feel safer that way as well. Storage, I like to keep all my jars up here. In the back, there is a roll of felt that I put back there, so you can get more storage. You can almost stick 2 of these jars back there, but I just like to have the one run of them, so I just did the felt to kind of butt up more space, but you can have a little more convenience back in that area. The fan is a max air fan. It has 4 settings. It is also rainproof, so rain can't get in, which is nice. Pretty smooth. It's not the remote version, so you have to hand crank. I just didn't really think that walking 2 feet to turn on a fan would be that big of a deal, and it was a better choice for me. Up there, this comes in every ProMaster. There's a storage area up in here. This is where I keep my blankets. And it goes back, I don't know, about 3.5 feet by about 6 feet width. So you may be able to stuff a 2-year-old kid up there, I'm not sure. But come over this way. Cabinetry for clothing, storage, such. Everything has sort of a modern-ish feel to it in terms of the design in general that I tried to accomplish, just clean. I did a bar up top for hanging clothing. I think that hanging clothing just has a more convenient way of getting your clothing out and decorating yourself. So anyway, these are held by latches. Everything is held by latches so it doesn't pop open when you're driving. This also as well. Here's my pants, so you can store about 2 sets of pants next to each other and about 5 or 6 high, so you may even be able to do 2 people in this van if you really wanted to. There is a good amount of storage. I keep all my shoes under there. It continues up top, down below. It runs a little deeper in this area. This does not open up, and it just kind of keeps storage underneath so you can access maybe toiletries and such. I keep my laptop here. There's a 17-inch laptop, so again, it can go back decently far, and then more storage under there as well for a toilet or whatever you might need. I didn't install a compost toilet. I didn't think it was necessary. They're really expensive online, and I live a little more urbanly, so if I really need to, I just have a flip toilet. They work well for me. You put a couple bags in them, and then you discard where you need to. So that's squared away. This guy, I don't know, what do you call that, about 10 inches? I guess it's a 10-inch deep fridge. It does go back decently far, so you can fit a few days of groceries solid. You have underneath, as well as a freezer compartment. And it's very, very low running energy. When it's warmer out, it kicks on about every 10 to 20 minutes, and it'll make a soft humming noise. Really convenient, kind of low energy, noisy situation. So underneath here, there's a bit of extra storage. This comes off. You can access in here, let's say if you wanted to keep a broom or maybe some hidden stuff that runs the full length. It's 4 feet, the entire bed area and the underneath area storage. You cannot access this one from this side, but everything's accessible from the outside. This as well is a storage underneath. I kept it slightly raised in case you wanted to store some really important paperwork, or almost like a little hidden area just in case somebody comes in and is looking, snooping around. Okay, so the back of the van, as said before, the bed length is 4 feet. as well as the storage underneath. So what I did, this is just for aesthetics. They open up. You have 4 compartments, and this is where you can kind of access everything from behind. I fit skimboards. So this is about the length of how deep it goes, just to kind of put that into perspective. Underneath, everything is encapsulated underneath, above the wheel wells. I didn't want to leave anything exposed or kind of unfinished looking, so everything is capped in everywhere you look. You have a drawer here. I like to keep my wetsuits and such in this. You got 2 compartments, and it goes back to approximately here. It's not an extremely deep well, but it's good enough to kind of get some stuff stored. There is the battery, which is a 200 amp hour battery, as well as a 2000 watt inverter, and I have a safety switch in case you need to turn everything off. You can access it from this area, or when you lift the bed, you can lift up the panel and you can access everything from up above, so you can get the stuff if something goes wrong. I thought just kind of keeping it away from dust and all that stuff was kind of a smarter, safer move, maybe? I don't know, could be wrong. Brick, fake brick. Obviously, fake ivy, but whatever. Shelving for when you're hanging out with your buddies, drinking a beer or coffee or tea. So all the windows that I installed myself have the ability to open up. That was pretty crucial to me. I wanted to have airflow as well as light. It has driven through Colorado in literally sideways rain, blasting at it for a couple hours, and I haven't had any leaks whatsoever. Everything is double sealed, completely tight, caulked. I was pretty obsessed with that because I didn't want to rot out the van. That scared the hell out of me. So everything is extremely watertight and insulated as well, which everything's done with polyiso. You have your 3/4 inch on the top, you have your 1/2 inch on the sides. The floor is just Reflectix. Everything is stuffed with filler spray foam, as well as another layer of just general covering and wool insulation up inside the cracks. So there's no toxicity and there's no unnatural products or stuff that causes gas off. So you're safe. Each window, I kind of kept it simple. The windows do get a little bit of light leaking. They are not completely snug in terms of on the sides. The actual material itself does not see through. So if you had a flashlight on the other side, nothing's coming through. But when it kind of comes up, there is a little bit of light that escapes. So if you want to handle that, you can. I've noticed that from the outside. It's very minimal. I didn't really find it necessary to kind of hide as if no one's in the van, because people don't really snoop, in my experience of doing this for over a year now. I bought these from IKEA. They were supposed to just kind of go back up themselves. IKEA stuff isn't the greatest, so it doesn't work, so you have to kind of hand roll each one. Not the greatest, but they still work really well. I apologize, they do have some slight staining on them and whatnot, but no secrets here. Let's just put it all out in the open, eh? Carpet. I did carpet along the walls. I thought it'd be cozy. I thought it'd be a nice look. It separated the living room / bedroom from the kitchen. I felt it gave it more of like a larger feel to it, and a warmer feel. Everything from the inside capped to the outside to the full outside, all 3 layers, is all individually wood and carpet binded, stapled, screwed. This stuff is not coming out, and I hid any holes as best as I could. So I put a lot of love and care into these, and it was a pain in the butt, so I hope you like it. Oh, this, ouch, my butt. A little bit of storage here. And then, if you would, darling, come back inside. Over here, you have your switch panels, and this is sort of a rotating monitor situation. I put my iPad in here. You can just kind of buy your own iPad scenario. This fits the first version of the iPad. Worked well for me, but it's pretty easy to kind of redo it yourself. You can buy this iPad from me with the van separate, or maybe I'll just include it. I don't know, we'll work it out when we get there. It does have a latch, so it doesn't screw around on you when you're driving and bang around, but it does kind of rotate if you want to kind of watch TV during making dinner. I put some books here, I kind of stuff them in, another storage down here, another small storage in this area, and then your switches. Sorry, Left Eye, this is Left Eye. Hello! This is my one-eyed kitty, Left Eye, but she's very happy in the van, she has a good time. So you have your main switch right here, which is on a dimmer. All lighting, you have 3 individual light scenarios up above. You can touch each one and you can dim on and off everything as how you please. These 2 are dead. They don't do anything. I couldn't figure out anything extra. I didn't want to put the water pump, or I didn't want to put the refrigerator on them. I didn't think it was necessary. I couldn't find a lesser panel switch, so unfortunately you have 2 dead ones. But this one, however, powers your USB as well as your voltage meter. And then up here, you also have your battery life and voltage meter. And then you have another 12 volt, and you have your USBs. So that's nice and convenient for charging. The inverter is done by a switch. That switch turns on this outlet as well as the one at the kitchen. So they are not always live. You have to turn them on. I didn't want the inverter to be running at all times, and it was kind of a safety thought process behind that. So yeah, this is also Bluetooth. So you can, the Smart Solar runs through a Bluetooth app, and then you can check how much energy usage you've been doing, which is, like I said, 200 amp hours, and I have 380 watts of solar on the roof, what are they, 185? So it's, yeah, I think it's 365 watts of solar on the roof into the 200 amp hour, and I've never run it out unless I'm running, let's say, a blender or a hair dryer for 10-20 minutes straight, and then it'll just shut off as a safety situation with the 2000 watt inverter, because it does allow you to run up to 2000 watts for up to 10 to 15 minutes, but then it'll immediately go back to about 80 to 90% of battery. Otherwise the lights, everything in here, it never ever gets even close to dead. Okay, so the bed, this is us hanging out, and we are completely extended. I am 5'9", and my lovely lady here is, what are you, 5'4", 5'3"?
5'4".
And we're pretty average sized human beings, not too fat, I hope. And we fit really relatively comfortable in this bed together, so it's definitely convenient for 2, as well as a little kitty cat. It runs 6'2", I think, to full extended. So if you're a 6-foot person, you can still fit this way, which is really nice. And then the ceiling is 6'4" or 6'5" to this beam. So if you're a 6-foot person, you can fit in this van, unlike a lot of the Sprinters, which you cannot fit sideways. Okay, so like I was explaining, we have the windows on the outside. I'm just gonna do it this way for now, but you can slide them open, as well as the screen, which is really nice. Even if somebody wanted to get in here, they can't fit themselves in this area. It's not built, it's like 10 inches, so it was big enough to get wind and light, but not large enough to be broken into. I had this ladder made for me. You can't buy this ladder, so it was just it's steel, customized to this van. Holds plenty of weight, so you can get to the roof to access your solar panels, to clean them off, or if you want to go sit on the roof and check out the sunset. The doors on the ProMaster completely open up, which is pretty cool. That one I'm against the fence, so I can't right now, but I can. So that's really nice. I like that a lot. So the bed also converts back down to 2 seats, which I'm going to show you how to break that down now. So the bed is made up of 4 cushions. I had these done with medium high density foam. It's 4 inches thick, and this is canvas. The sun does turn it a different color relatively quick. This is a young van, and it just happens to kind of change the color, so you can see some fading. The material seems to be holding up really well. I've had cans before. I don't have any problems with it. I prefer it because it's easy to clean. Each cushion you can take off, so if you want to vacuum them, like I said, you can get to your foam, and you can always change up the color or style of them if you'd like. To get them done was about $500, so it wouldn't be the most expensive thing in the world if you actually wanted to kind of switch that scenario up. I have these wood panels that go behind the seat. This comes up, like I said, I just have it screwed in temporarily. That's where you can access everything, and there's storage obviously from this angle as well. This is just so it's more stable, and you have your support beams underneath that are 2x2s running every 8 inches, so you have enough weight to support a solid, I don't know, about 800 pounds, so you're not breaking through any of this whatsoever, especially with it displaced. This comes off. So you can see, 5'8", I can still stand up in here. It's only risen up about 5 inches, so you still have some headroom if you're a shorter person. Okay, so this pole, you can unscrew it. If you want to have full access here, so there's no table at all. Set your height. Add your pin, your cushions. Doesn't seem to go anywhere, you just kind of sink it in itself. Mount the table on top. The table does rotate. Make sure you're locked tight. So like I was saying before, this is not the most sturdy table scenario, so what I did was I added just simple rope to a boat cleat, and what this does, it just keeps it from swaying or pitching, relatively effortless. It is definitely not my ideal situation, but with that, now you have a sturdy table. Like I said, we can figure out something better. I definitely am disappointed in myself on that design, but I just don't want to touch it until I decide to do further. But it's nice. Hang out, have a dinner, look at the ocean or the scenery, and convert it back to the bed. Only takes, I don't know, 5 minutes max. Kind of old school design, sort of keeps you feeling like you're, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's not too hard. The van has 7,805 miles at the time of this recording. You have your backup cam here. Very good backup cam, as I'll show you. So you can really get within a couple inches of where you need to be. Okay, you have plenty of cup holders. You have your AC, you have your hazards, and you can also, in this car, I can't show you now, but you can go into manual, which is nice, and you have a tow haul switch as well. Dual airbags, and the seats go back and forth, and it is a tilt wheel. You just release the latch under here, and then you can go in and out. It doesn't allow to go up and down. That's just the design of the vehicle. This does come in handy because I do have windows in the back, full coverage here, and some more storage up in this area, which was an add-on. Oh, power locks, power windows. Is that enough here? Collapse and open, so you don't get them broken off. And they're also anti-fog. That was an add-on that I got done with this. And down here, I have a power switch. So the power supply, in case you run into really, really rainy weather, you do have a power switch that runs up to your alternator to power the unit inside and store into the battery. I bought this vehicle brand new. So all 7,800 miles are put in it by me, mostly highway because I drove to Colorado to build this. And then I drove back and just generally around town. So there really isn't much wear and tear. It was just a bit of traveling around, checking out a couple things, and I've been stationary here since I built it a couple months ago. So you got the full warranty. I have all the paperwork, and it is a rather brand new vehicle. The vehicle itself is front wheel drive, which is really nice because you can pull yourself out of sticky situations. And the axle is lower, which means that you can get a better turning radius. However, the clearance, I guess about a foot or something. I had to look into that. It is relatively lower, but I've never bottomed out on anything. But you're kind of compensating the front wheel drive and the turning radius for the higher axle, longer axle wheelbase, like the Sprinters or the Transits. And running lights up top. And I believe that's basically it. Oh, no, one more thing. I did wood paneling in this area. This is chalkboard paint, so you can write on here if you want to say hi to your friends. And then this general covering, everything is as well insulated in this area for the door. The ceiling is general plywood. It's 16th inch or 1/8 inch, I forget which I used. The corners are worked in with Bondo, so you have plywood and Bondo to create the capsule style feel in here. The paint is a higher end paint where you generally can't stain it if you touch it much. The ceiling is a slightly less expensive paint, so you can stain it if you really touch it with dirty hands. But counters, cabinets, everything is basically unstainable. Tiling is easy to wipe off and clean. So everything in this van was built by me. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to ask me. I'm an open book. There's nothing to hide. The materials cost a certain amount. Took me about 350 hours to build, and the van itself was bought brand new, which is all adding up to approximately $55,000 for the build, and my time is not included in that. And so I feel that the starting price of $75,000 is relatively reasonable. If you want to negotiate or have any questions, just feel free to ask me, and we can work something out if we find a good medium ground there. And I think that's it. I think that concludes the van. If there's anything I missed, I'll try to write it in the description, and please follow the links. And if you would like to see where all the paperwork come from, I believe I have all the receipts. Other than that, Cactus the Van 2.0. Say bye, Left Eye.
Bye.